What up, watch peeps? So in World War II, my grandfather served aboard the USS Otterstetter, a destroyer escort class ship. Now I mention that because today's watch was named after the HMS Arethusa, which is an Arethusa class light cruiser. And the founder of this watch, his grandfather had served aboard that ship in World War II. So my grandfather played a big part in my life, so I thought that tie-in was really cool. I really appreciate what he did there. And this tie-in also extends to some of the design elements of the watch. So let's check it out. I'm Pete, and we are Chillin' with Watches. Wrist check, of course, the Traska commuter with that fresh mint dial really clashing with my green hoodie. Cool watch, but we're here to check out this Arethusa today. Actually, really cool packaging on this one as well. It has an awesome watch roll that it comes in. Really nice canvas, got a leather strap there. Really nice, soft interior as well. And what you get inside is you have some tools. You have a screwdriver for the bracelet links. You have a strap change tool, and you do get a second strap, which is one of these FKM rubber straps that I've talked about on the channel before. They are very comfortable. I like the ones with a little more texture to them, but this is a very nice strap alternative for this gorgeous watch. I really have had a lot of fun reviewing this one. It is a perfectly sized 40 millimeters, and it comes in 3 different dial colors. You have this matte black I have here, then there's like a sunray blue and a forged carbon dial, which is something Zelos does a lot. I think that one looks super. Now currently these are about 2 weeks out from delivery at a price of $3.99 US, but you can use code CHILLIN to pick one up for $3.29 through the end of this month, which I think is a fantastic price. No kickback or anything, just a discount for you guys. So let's take a closer look. Obviously, the thing that jumps out at you about this watch is that handset. And for good reason, it is super cool. You have this radar scope sweep seconds hand. That's one of the tie-ins to the Navy I was talking about. And, you know, in pictures, I don't think it does it justice because it just really looks cool on wrist as you're watching that thing constantly sweeping around. And then you got these really cool, hour hand is the shorter white stubby one. Minute hand is this one down here. And I understand that you might think that might be hard to read at first, but you know, setting it for the very first time really will kind of alleviate any kind of confusion you have there. As soon as you start to turn it and you see which hand is which, you have to retrain your brain for a quick minute, but you get used to it really fast. Not hard to tell the time on this thing at all. Now, this is the kind of thing I like for micro brands to do. Do something different, something new, something fun. I love these big, thick blocks at 3, 6, and 9, but especially check out that one at 6 o'clock. You have the date window, kind of incorporated it into what looks like one of the hour markers, but you'll see they also have the water resistance rating built right in there. I just think that is a really cool little detail. I also think, I hope this watch does really well because I think it lends itself to some crazy color combos in the future. Maybe a Chillin' with Watches colorway? So let's check out this bezel insert. It is a loomed ceramic bezel insert with different cities for use as a world timer. And we'll check out the lume later because it looks awesome in the dark. Now it's a coin edge bezel with 120 clicks. There is a little bit of play in the bezel, nothing major. It has, I would say, medium tension, kind of light ticky feel to it. But what I really love is how well it's incorporated with the watch. The slope of the bezel insert to the slight slope dome of the sapphire crystal, it is just a really nice, smooth transition there. Now the case is pretty straightforward in design, but done really well. You have drilled lugs, of course. The overall side view, kind of this curved shape in the profile, I think is really nice. It kind of lends itself into this sharp downturn on the bracelet as well. You do have a signed crown, and that is just that blue protective on there. It is not actually blue. I haven't taken all that wrap off of there. You have these really nice polished chamfers on the corners and just horizontal brushing everywhere else. I think the case looks really nice. It's a really nice size as well. Now the case transitions very nicely into these end links. You'll see here they are solid end links. They are male end links, but they keep with the curve of the case. They turn down very quickly, very tight, protecting that lug to lug measurement, keeping this watch wearing very compactly. And you see the bracelet uses basically oyster links, but there are these kind of polished highlight areas at the top and bottom of each link. I don't care much for a fully polished center link, but I think these kind of highlights are really cool. I think they give just the right amount of pop to the bracelet, kind of like something you've seen on some Seikos. It really works for me. Now they do use screw links, which made sizing the bracelet a breeze, much easier than dealing with pin and collar or split pins. Now the bracelet has a 20 to 18 millimeter taper down at the clasp. It has a pretty standard dive clasp with your safety fold over and your 2 push button release, milled out scissor mechanism inside, and it has 6 micro adjusted are nice and close together, so you'll have a real easy time getting a good fit. I did notice a couple times closing it that the safety fold over will sometimes catch on the top part of the clasp there if it is sticking up, but when you're wearing it flush flat against your wrist, it closes no problem. All right, now this thing's running a Seiko NH35, so let's throw it on the Timegrapher and see how it's running. Really very good Seiko numbers here, averaging about plus 6 seconds per day with about 260 on the amplitude, which is very normal for a Seiko power. The beat error is going between 0 and 0.1, which is basically nil to me, so I think this thing's running great. Going over the dimensions. Now this is actually a 40 millimeter bezel, but it's only 39 millimeters at the case. The lug to lug comes in at a nice 47.5 millimeters. And this thing comes in at 14.6 millimeters thick. Now, I hate thickness as a measurement. I know you're going to say, well, I love thin watches. Well, you know, no, you don't. You like watches that wear close to your wrist. And thickness can often be misleading because I'll show you when I put this on wrist. You'll see how nice and close it wears to the wrist. You would never guess that it's over 14 millimeters thick. And it has 20 millimeter lug width. Going over some of the other specs, we are looking at a nice, slightly domed, double-domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. Uses BGW9 Lume everywhere. Running the Seiko NH35 movement with 200 meters of water resistance. And on the bracelet sized for my 7¼ inch wrist, it came in at 173 grams. So let's take a look at it on wrist. And here's how it wears on my 7¼ inch wrist. And as you guys can see, it wears nice and close to the wrist. It doesn't look thick at all. If I were to tell you my Doxa Sub 600T is actually thinner than this watch, but it doesn't wear anywhere near this close to the wrist. So I think that is actually the thing we're going for. And this watch does it well. Let's take a look at it side by side, some other watches. First up, here it is next to another 40 millimeter diver, the Invicta Pro diver. This one modded out. Now that smaller dial on the Invicta is going to make it present a little smaller, but these are overall dimensions almost the same, even the thickness, as they both run the Seiko NH35. And I do think these watches both wear very similarly. Moving up a little bit, here is that Doxa Sub 600T, also 40 millimeters. Similar size dial to bezel ratio make these present very similar. But again, this Doxa is actually 0.2 millimeters thinner than the Arethusa, but it doesn't wear anywhere near as well or close to the wrist as the Arethusa does. Lastly, here it is next to the Seiko SKX at 42.5 millimeters. Slightly bigger watch again. Small dial opening, plays tricks with the eyes. Overall thickness very similar on these, but again, I have to give the nod to the Arethusa and how it wears close to the wrist. All right, last up, let's take a look at that BGW9.
Keep the Lume.
And check that out. I love Lume because I'm basically a child, and the Lume on this watch is absolutely spectacular. For someone who doesn't normally love BGW9, it absolutely kills in this instance. I think this thing is so much fun in the dark. So there you go, the Arethusa World Diver. This thing is doing all the right things for a micro brand for me. It stands out. They managed to balance wild and different with classic looks in a new way, and that ain't easy. Also, the navy tie-in really hits home for me. So go pick one of these up, use that code at $329. It's an absolute steal. All right, before I let you guys go, sneaker check, wearing my Jordan 1 lows, and no, that is not a house arrest anklet I'm wearing. Chillin' Pete had to get ACL reconstruction surgery. All right, that's it, I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, please like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.